Okay. I think we're starting now, man. Are we on air? We always ask that, right?
Are we? Yeah,
Yeah, it's not on
I think
standby
we
anymore.
are.
We are.
All
So, hey,
right.
man, we're together again for another episode of Chá Pedagógico, bro. Great to be here. Yeah.
Yes. So, guys, welcome to another episode of Chá Pedagógico. Today is August 31st, Sunday. We're both in Brazil, but in very different locations in this
Yeah.
amazing and super big country.
Dude, I'm
Today is episode, I
800
think, episode
kilometers away
number
from you,
20,
I think.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or
I'm
something
really
like
far
this.
away
And
from you.
and
Yeah.
and and
Yeah.
still we find ways to get together, right?
That's what Chá
We
Pedagógico is
find
for,
ways.
Yeah, that's the purpose for us to get together and talk about, stupid but very important things. Silly, geeky, nerdy, but very important things, right? And it couldn't be any different today because today we're
Today we're going to talk
actually,
about some very nerdy stuff.
man, very nerdy. I remember when you said something about this
Yeah.
topic, I said, yeah, that's cool. Let's do this, you know, because we're always, by the way, folks, if you
Yeah.
follow Chá Pedagógico, please let us know what you want us to talk about because we're running out of ideas. I mean, the ideas we have are crazy. Like the ones that are super crazy, we haven't actually brought to you yet. So maybe you can help us with less crazy ideas, Make sure you send us some suggestions, right?
Or maybe some even crazier ideas.
Yeah. I mean, we don't mind talking crazy.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. This is, again, I think it's episode 20 of Chá Pedagógico. But some reminders, very important, very important. So, guys, whether you're watching us right now or watching the recording of this episode, don't forget to click on the like button because that's really
Yes.
important for us.
Please
Because
do.
when you
Yeah.
click on the like button, it's as if you're telling YouTube that this show, this podcast is really cool. And then YouTube is the algorithms. The algorithms are going to boost the episode and make the episode reach more people. So this is really important.
Exactly.
And also, it's a feedback for us because if you click the like button, you're going to know that you're enjoying the episodes, you're enjoying the topics that we're bringing
yeah,
to
for
you
sure.
guys. If
Yeah.
you haven't subscribed to Giselle's YouTube channel, subscribe, do so right now, because then every
Yeah.
time Chá Pedagógico is on air, you're going to be notified. This is really
Exactly.
important.
Yeah.
And we have a poll
We
because
do, right?
today we're going to
Yeah.
talk about nourishment, right? And there's a poll.
Dude, that's the what I was saying. How did we come up with that topic, right? So we're going to talk about nourishment, and we usually talk about neuroscience, linguistics, learning, teaching English methodology, and then we decided to talk about nourishment because guess what, folks? They are connected. I mean, very connected. Without
Exactly.
nourishment, there's nothing, right, Rudy? So yeah, let's take a look at the poll
Absolutely
then.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. So take a look
Yeah.
at the poll here, guys. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna apologize for my constant coughing because it's super dry here in Campinas right now. Actually, it's
Yeah.
been super dry in Campinas these days, and I'm coughing my lungs out. So I'm so sorry for this.
See?
I'm apologizing in advance. So the poll here is, of course, about nourishment. So how important is your students' nourishment for your work as a language teacher? So option
Oh,
A, very. I always ask about it. Option B,
yeah.
I never ask about it. Option C, I'm not sure about it. And option D, not important at all. So
Yeah.
please take a look at the poll and don't forget to interact here with us on the chat box because
Please,
the more you
folks.
interact with us, the better the episodes are. It's really important. So just to start, you can tell us where you guys are from. Tell us where you guys are from here in the
Where are
chat
you
box. We're
watching
gonna
us
see,
from?
and then
Yeah.
if you have any questions, exactly.
Yeah.
And stay with us till the end of this episode. We have
Oh, I have
three,
big news, folks.
three,
Yeah.
three very cool
Major
things to tell
announcements,
you
okay?
guys.
Major announcements. Yeah,
Exactly,
we're
exactly.
excited.
So,
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah.
man, it's the ticket to the big leagues. The ticket to the big leagues.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
And
Let
before
me
we
let
get
me
into that,
yeah.
let's
Go
talk
ahead,
about.
man.
I don't know. Yeah, I would like to call the
Oh,
attention
yes.
to the lights here. I don't know if you guys can see the lights that we have here in our mics.
Yeah.
It's lilac because today is the last day of August, but the month
Yeah.
of August here in Brazil is the lilac month. So people, so to raise awareness for domestic violence against women. All
Exactly.
right. So
Exactly.
yes, that's why it's lilac. You know,
Because we
don't
support the cause,
seriously.
and so should you, folks. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
ladies, no, you're not alone. You have other women. Other women are getting united. This is really important. And not
Exactly.
every dude like us are, you know, uh, stupid.
Yeah.
You know, meaning
Yes.
like us are stupid, but you know, at
Yeah,
least
we
the
were
two of us
stupid in
stupid.
different ways, but yeah,
Yeah,
but we have
we're
to support
silly,
the
not
cause. Yeah,
stupid. We're silly, not stupid.
we're silly.
You
Yeah,
know.
that's true. We're geeky. Yeah,
Yeah.
but bro, let me start with a very interesting, thought provoking idea here, and then maybe people who are
All
watching
right.
us can
That's what I'm here
interact.
for.
Yeah, because we're going to talk about nourishment. We're going to talk about digestion and eating and all of that. But I assume
Yeah.
that a lot of people here believe that maybe that has absolutely nothing to do with the mind and the brain, right? So, what do you guys think?
Mhm.
Do you think that because there, I'm actually going to give you more context, you know? So, many years ago, there was a guy, his name was René Descartes, you know, a very famous philosopher who said, I think, therefore I am. And he kind of
Yeah.
established what we know as the Cartesian, philosophy, let's say. So basically, that means that we can define ourselves through our cognition, and our emotions don't matter so much. Our physiological needs don't matter so much. It's really about thinking. But here's the thing: is that right? Can we just ignore physiological needs like, hunger? Can we ignore emotional needs like a sense of belonging and learn, or are those things connected, right? So you folks tell me. It's just for you to be provoked a little bit. Right, Rudy? Yeah, that's the
And
idea, huh?
yes, yes. And if for some reason you think things are connected, uh, which I believe you're going to come to this conclusion very fast. If you have at least half a brain cell working, you're going to come up with this
Yeah,
conclusion very, very easily. Um, the whole idea, because you asked me, I actually, it was a rhetoric question, but how did we come up with this idea? Well,
yeah,
the whole thing started because here in Brazil, there is a very recent number saying that almost 4% of the population here in Brazil is undernourished.
yeah,
4% of our population is undernourishment. And because our population is like super big, this accounts for a very large number of people.
yeah,
4%. I'm terrible at math. I'm not going to do the math here, you know,
yeah.
but 4%
But
of
it
200
has
million
to
people
be,
is a lot.
yeah, 8 million. I don't know. Help us out, guys. Yeah,
I
I
guess
don't know.
it's,
Is it
yeah.
more?
So if
I
you
think it's
know
a more
4%
than
of
8 million.
200
Yeah,
million,
yeah,
something like this, um,
yeah,
this is a lot of people. And this
yeah,
number includes both adults and kids. You know,
yeah,
it's not just for kids, it's not just for adults, it's for both of them. And this number, when I came across this number, this was like
yeah,
a major wake up call. And I immediately asked
yeah.
you, I
It's
said,
a
dude,
shock,
look at these
right? Yeah,
numbers. I
yeah,
have exactly. And look, I have some papers here talking about diet
yeah,
and cognitive abilities and cognitive
yeah,
skills, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe we can do something about it. And yeah, we came up with this episode that we are here today.
yeah,
It's and I came well, for
yeah,
starters, what's the connection that we have? Well, if you've been watching Chá Pedagógico for the last 6.5 years, because
yeah.
that's
That's
when
how
we
long
started
we've
Chá
been
Pedagógico.
together. Yeah,
Exactly. And we're getting
yeah,
into the seventh anniversary. That's super
dude,
cool.
that's major. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
super cool. If you've been watching us, so you already know that
yeah,
attention is mandatory for learning.
yeah,
If we don't have any kind of attention, regardless of the type of attention we talk about here, I gave a speech for British Council last week talking about the types of attention, blah blah blah. We're not talking
Yeah.
about types of attention. We're talking about attention in general. If we don't have that, we are not going to have any kind of learning. Learning is going to be null. All right.
That's it.
And in
And that
order for
comes,
us,
let me
yeah,
add, that
yeah.
actually comes from the research of Nobel Prize winner. His name is Eric Kandel, and he did very interesting research on sea slugs. And basically, if we are not receiving the stimuli, and we need attention for that to focus on the stimuli that's coming at us, then there's no processing, right? Nothing gets into the system, the organism. So,
Yeah.
dude, guys, listen to Eric Kandel. He won a Nobel Prize. Okay, so,
You want to know?
yes.
I mean, he didn't ask. He didn't have to beg for a Nobel Prize.
Yeah,
Like
he won
certain
it. Okay.
politicians, he actually won it
Yeah.
fair and square.
Yeah.
But the thing is, so regardless of the kind of attention that we're pulling out, our body or brain requires a lot of energy, a
Oh,
lot
yes.
of energy.
Definitely. Yeah.
Where are we going to get this energy from?
Yeah.
Food, nourishment,
Exactly.
nourishment.
And
if we
then,
have 4% of our population undernourished, how do you think? And we're going to see it. It's not about only the unprivileged social tiers. It's also we're going to see that this has been affecting both ends of the spectrum, of the
definitely,
social
yeah.
spectrum, of course.
Yeah.
But if we have 4% undernourished, and we have another percentage that has malnutrition in the sense of consuming bad calories.
Yeah.
We're not nutritionists here, okay? So if we're not using the right term or the jargons, sorry for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we are going to have a bigger number, even bigger number.
Oh yeah, definitely.
How are we going to require them to pay attention to a language class, for example, to a math class, geography, or whatever class, regardless of their age? We're going to see this as well, regardless of their age, right? Dude?
Yeah. and this is a very important matter because I don't think people realize how costly it is for the brain to keep the working memory and the attentional networks running. If you think about evolution, really, and you go back to when we were out there in the jungle looking for food and trying to find shelter, and we had to walk very long distances every day, we had to use most of that energy to actually survive, right? So nowadays we have different times for most of us, but well, actually not even for most of us. A lot of people are living under the poverty line, and they're doing basically the same thing, So
even though we did have some sort of improvement in this kind of number, because it used to be way higher in the last, in previous governments.
Definitely,
but we have some improvements, but we're still struggling with this kind of number.
But here's the thing. If you look at other animals, they have to spend most of their time looking for food, unless they're domesticated, because then we feed them. But then the nutritional contents of the food we give them, they're pretty high. But an animal in the wild has to, eat most of the day, especially herbivores, because, plants, they don't have that many calories. That will cost a lot of time, so it's not cost effective. But then something happened, and Rudy mentioned it a little bit. The type of food and how we prepared food actually helped us get all of the calories we need for that very expensive working memory and attentional network system to run. And one way we were able to do that was through fire, because now we have a very let's say, not very effective digestive system, so it takes time for things to be digested in our bodies. But then if we can pre-digest food outside the body by cooking it, so using fire, that means we can get more calories in less time. And that means we can actually, in one sitting, like nowadays you can go to Burger King and you get one meal and you get more calories than you need for the rest of the day for 2 days, which is only possible because we can pack a lot of calories into one meal because we can cook nutrients, right? And I'm going to mention this so Rudy can talk more about how this affects us. This is really the topic addressed by Susana Culano, our amazing
Yeah.
neuroscientist, the woman who discovered the number of neurons in the brain, by the way. Okay, she discusses that in this book, The Human Advantage, a vantagem humana.
Yeah.
How
And
cooking
where
is
can people
advantage, right?
find this book? Where can people
So
find this book?
yes, folks, you can find this book if you check Giselle's website, okay? And you can use our hashtag voucher. Remember that? So you can buy with a discount. So it's basically hashtag SHA25, okay?
Yeah.
So whenever you buy any book that's on the list, you get a major discount. So make sure you do that. And this book really
Yeah.
tells the story of why are humans special? Why do we have amazing intellectual cognitive powers? Because we can use energy to our advantage. We can get lots of energy very fast by cooking things, and then our energetic needs are met, and then we have time to kind of be idle in nature, like thinking, reflecting,
Yeah.
socializing, things that can help us become more evolved, right? That's
Exactly.
amazing, folks.
And
Yeah.
funny you mentioned Susana Culano here in her book,
Yeah.
because even though I told you guys some minutes ago that 4% of our population is undernourished, and this is directly tied to
Yeah.
their social tiers or their
Exactly.
social economic situation. And I think it's no news that underprivileged, socioeconomically underprivileged people, they've been struggling with this, not only in Brazil,
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
across the world. Maybe in some countries more. We're going to see less in different countries, but I think this is a global situation. But
Definitely. Yeah.
we have the other end of the spectrum here: the social economically privileged people, the population. Why? Are they part of the 4%? No, they're not. And by the way, the number, I didn't get this number. I didn't, it's not a number that I just came across. This is from one of the UN's numbers and data. So this is this 4% that I just told you. I
Yeah.
forgot
Yeah.
to mention that, to refer to that. But we have the other end of the spectrum, the social economically privileged population, because of ultra processed foods. What's
Yes.
ultra processed foods? The
Yeah.
famous UPF. I learned that UPF is ultra processed foods. Doritos, sausages, hot dogs,
Yeah.
burgers, frozen food. Those hot
Anything
pockets
with
that
high levels of sugar, salt, and
sugar,
fat. Fat. Yeah.
sodium. Exactly. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. This kind of food. So every time you don't have time to actually make a hot meal,
Yeah.
and you grab whatever you have on the run, there's a big chance that you're consuming UPF. All right.
Oh
And
yeah.
this is
Definitely.
really, really, really bad for
And
our
and there's
cognition.
something else, bro. They usually UPFs we call them hyper palatable. They taste good. They
Oh,
taste
yeah. Yeah.
really good. So your brain loves
Because
that,
they
right?
have to,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. There's a
They
lot of
have to
sugar, a lot of
taste well.
fat. So they
They have to
definitely.
taste well because it's a bunch of chemicals that you're intaking. And
Yeah.
can you imagine if they didn't have any kind of solution for the
Yeah.
taste? This would be a huge problem. But this interferes directly in the cognitive skills that we have. You
Yeah.
know, hello, go
There
with
do
mommy.
we have a visitor?
With mommy, please. Go with mommy,
Uh-huh.
please.
She's
Go with
coming.
mommy, please. Go with mommy, please.
So Sophie is coming
Okay.
to talk to you,
Say
folks.
hello
Yeah.
to say hello.
Yeah.
Say hello. Hi.
Hey, Sophia.
Okay, now I
There
need you
she
to
is.
go with mommy.
She wants daddy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Bye
She
bye.
just wanted to show you some love, man. Bye bye, Sophia. But dude,
Yeah, we had a
you were
trespass.
saying,
Someone
no, no,
broke into my
say,
realm.
Yes. She's going to be part of Chá Pedagógico someday, you know? She's going
Someday
to
she will.
carry the legacy on,
The
okay?
legacy. Yes.
Yeah. But
Yes.
this is something interesting because I was teaching a course recently about the neuropsychology of behavior, addiction, and imagine Homo sapiens like 200 I don't know 300,000 years ago,
Yeah.
walking in the plains of Africa. Okay, and then imagine this person, this man, this woman, finding or coming across a very beautiful, colorful, and sweet fruit. You know, like could be a
Mhm.
berry, a wild berry, or a citrus fruit, or whatever. uh, Imagine how incredibly powerful, the release of certain neurotransmitters were, like especially dopamine and things that make us want to go after something, find it's a reward seeking type of behavior, right? So this is very important for the brain, for survival. If you come across something that will give you, because if it's very very sweet, it gives you lots of energy. You need
Yeah.
energy to survive, right? It gives you a lot of energy. But today we have artificial stuff that we add sugar to and fats and whatever
Mhm.
that they have. It's not, we cannot compare to a drug like crack or cocaine or anything like that. It's infinitely less. But
Yes.
still it's much more powerful than anything you can find in nature. A grape, a blueberry, whatever. So of course those types of food will lead to what we call a compulsion or binge eating or something like that. So in that case, you are getting the type of calories that is not the best quality, that
Yeah.
will not help you improve your cognitive abilities. It's kind of like, we all have, most of us here have a car or some kind of means of transportation. The type of fuel that you put in the tank, the gas tank, right? The
Yeah.
quality of that fuel will interfere with the performance, right? Because it can get your engine dirty or whatever. So if you get very good quality fuel, that's great. If you get bad quality fuel, after a couple of months, maybe your engine is dead.
Yeah.
There you got to do something. So it's really about the quality of the calorie that you're
Exactly.
intaking.
Exactly. And there's this research conducted here in Brazil. Yeah, here in Brazil
Yeah.
by two Brazilian PhDs, uh, Natalia Gonçalves, Naomi Ferreira, and
Yeah.
hopefully I'm going to pronounce her name or their name correctly, Neha Kanpur. Neha Kanpur. I don't know if
Okay.
I pronounced her
Niha
name correctly.
Kampu, probably
Yeah,
Indian or
probably,
Pakistani or
yes. I
something.
don't know
Okay.
if I pronounced their name correctly. But anyway, and
Mm.
in this research, very current research, by the way, they came across some very interesting results that people who have a high consumption of ultra processed foods, they have they showed signs of cognitive decline for language and global cognitive decline for people who
Yeah.
have a very high intake of ultra processed foods. And we would like to address that because, again, this is the other end of the spectrum. We're
Exactly.
talking about people who actually have access, have financial resources. They can buy food, but for some reason, we're not getting into these reasons right here, right now. But for some reason, these people they are turning to ultra processed foods, and considering, for instance, kids, they are eating cookies, sugar, and saturated
Fat.
fats,
Yeah. Yeah.
sodium, hot dogs, burgers. They go to big burger chains, big burger restaurants that we have,
Definitely. Yeah.
let's say here in Brazil. They haven't been taking uh, proper kinds of
Yeah.
elements that will actually prevent their cognitive. I'm not even going to say
Yeah.
boost their cognitive activity, but prevent their cognitive activity from
Yeah.
declining, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
And
slowing
also
down at
adult
least,
learners, huh? Because
Yeah.
we were
Yeah.
considering young learners like kids or
Yeah.
teenagers, adult learners as well, guys. So if
Definitely.
you
Yeah.
teach adult learners, and they're always on the run, they're always saying, "Oh, I don't have time to have a hot meal. You know, I got to
Yeah.
grab whatever I have in front of me, or I go to a fast food." And we have something in Brazil called pão de queijo, which is amazing, but
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
it's not something,
I actually
something,
I saw cheese rolls in England, so they're copying us. I think so. Probably
Yeah,
some Brazilian took the idea to
exactly,
the UK.
exactly.
You know.
So exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
fried foods consume a lot of oil because you need to fry the food and
Yeah.
saturated fat and all these things. So
Yeah.
this is going to affect, or this is going to result in cognitive decline. And if we say
Yeah.
cognitive decline, I'm talking about memory decline. And if you have
Yeah.
memory decline, are we going to be able and to actually are we going to be able to retrieve certain, let's say,
Yeah.
words? No, because this research I just mentioned some minutes ago, they said that people who have a high intake of UPFs, they struggle retrieving words,
Yeah. The thing, man.
not even
Yeah.
retrieving, recognizing certain words.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's the thing, but the thing is that we are all going to through cognitive decline as it is, because every organism, like, we can even think about machines, that we have let's say a shelf life, because things deteriorate, right?
Come
Yeah.
on, man. Are we proudest
Yeah.
now?
Well, organisms also deteriorate, right? It has to do with how our
was really
cells are,
cool.
right? We also have a shelf life, right?
Sure, sure.
So we have processes of cell division, for example, mitosis, meiosis, and every time we replicate a cell, it gets a little worse than the original, because there are certain chemical processes that we have to do with oxidation, for example. And then as we get older, that's why we're always tired, folks. We're getting older, so our organism is not responding as well as it did a couple of years ago. And that includes brain cells, so every time we, for example, when we're sleeping, and that's a very important stage of brain health, because it's basically cleaning, or there's brain hygiene is taking place. Yes, when we're sleeping, there are certain things that accumulate because of bad quality eating habits, or lack of certain things like a good sleep, exercise, cognitive stimulation, whatever. And that has been associated with dementia and Alzheimer's disease, for example. So if you cannot clean those things in your brain, you're going to get Alzheimer's. Of course, there's a very powerful genetic factor as well. But what I'm saying here is that we are going through cognitive decline as it is. So if we don't get enough nourishment from the foods we're eating, or maybe we don't even have access to food because we are, we're living under the poverty line or something like that, or if we are getting food, but we're getting bad food, junk food or whatever, of course there will be some kind of negative impact, right? So it's kind of like, again, going back to the car analogy, if you don't have any fuel, there's nothing you can do. You can't drive the car. You need fuel for the car to work, to start the car, to run the car. But if you get bad quality fuel, eventually the car is not going to work well. It's going to break down as well, because you're getting the fuel, but it's not actually good quality fuel, and then that's going to mess up with your engine. So you need to find the balance. You got to be somewhere in between. You're getting enough food, good quality food, and most importantly, Rudy said something very important, that's going to affect your memory. Yes. So if I am going to drive like I do sometimes from Goiânia to Brasilia, it takes about 2.5 hours, 3 hours, sometimes 5 hours with traffic. I need to, that's very, very important. I need to fill up the gas tank before I start that endeavor, let's say.
Yeah.
Because of course, maybe with a full gas tank, I can do the whole thing, but I cannot come back. So I have to stop at a gas station, get more fuel. This is the same for organisms. So if your students, they come to class and they haven't eaten in a couple of hours, they have not, they had breakfast and it's now 2 p.m. They haven't eaten anything. That's going to affect their attention networks and memory net because they don't have the energy to burn the calories from, so they can pay attention. So they need to eat a couple of hours before the lesson, not many hours before the lesson, because that energy they have is not enough for the task they are supposed to do in class, right? So that's
Yes.
it. Yeah.
And it's funny because, well, actually, before we
Yeah.
continue, we have some people watching us here. So, guys, talk to us here on the chat box here. Have
Yeah.
you ever considered your students' nutrition as an important factor in the process of learning or developing a new language or additional
Yeah.
languages? Have you ever been concerned about this? So talk to us. And for some reason, if you have language teachers from Brazil, especially who work in public schools,
Oh,
considering that
yes. Yeah.
that link between unprivileged people and undernourishment. Have you ever had problems with students that didn't have enough food to eat? Because this is something that we have
Exactly.
in Brazil. Actually, this is something
Yeah.
we've been having in Brazil. It's a different kind of tense here. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
we have many kids who go to school only to have something to eat because they have nothing to eat at home. So they go to school to eat,
Yeah.
and they go to school to eat, and it's like some meals, let's say that they have 2 or 3 meals maybe a day. It's still not enough, of course, but this is
Yeah.
a very I'd say sad scenario that we've had in
Yeah.
Brazil. So talk
And
to
and
us
Danny
here.
has just
So
mentioned
yeah,
something.
Dunny is saying no.
She's
I've
never
never
thought
thought
about it.
about this.
Yeah.
So
We
yeah,
we usually don't, right? We
and
don't think
Danny,
about it. Yeah.
do you work at a public? We don't exactly. Yeah, we take it
Yeah.
for granted. And Danny, do you
Yeah.
work at a public school or you work for a private school? Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah. Let us
So,
know. Yeah.
because this is really important, and it's been affecting a big part of the population. And as we said,
Yeah.
not only the unprivileged, the socioeconomically unprivileged part of the society, also the other end of the spectrum,
Yes.
those who actually have economical resources to get proper food, but they somehow are not getting proper nourishment. And do you have Hannibal? Where is
I do,
Hannibal? I miss
man.
Hannibal. Where
Hannibal's
is
always
Hannibal?
here, man. Every time I
Come
travel
on.
and I tell people I gotta show you 2 stuffed animals and Hannibal, they say, Hannibal, that was a big change of heart. Like, what is Hannibal? This is Hannibal, folks. It's the brain, okay? Of course,
This
right?
is Hannibal.
This is Hannibal,
Exactly.
folks.
This is
Yeah.
Hannibal. And
Yeah.
why? Oh, okay, dude. Could you please
Yeah.
do us a favor? And for those who are just listening to us, not
Yes.
watching us, Andre has this model of a brain, a very thorough model of a brain in his hand,
Yeah.
made of
Oh,
probably
yeah.
rubber or something like this.
Yeah,
And
something like that.
dude, can you
Yeah.
show people where the hippocampus is? Can you show
So
us where the
that's the
hippocampus is?
thing. So Hannibal, I wish I could show you exactly where the hippocampus is, but I can give you a pretty good idea. So this is the temporal lobe,
Yeah,
which you can find just, very close to your ear. So just above your ear and around your
yeah,
ear, you can find the temporal lobe. And your left temporal lobe, for most people anyway, is very, very well aligned or very important for language in many different aspects of language. So
yeah.
if you go a couple of inches, or let's use centimeters because we're Brazilians, and yeah, let's not be
2
subjugated
fingers,
to imperial. Okay, but
2,
anyway,
3
so if,
fingers.
if you go a little deep inside, let's say this temporal lobe, there's a
Yeah,
structure
yeah.
that looks like a seahorse. That's why
Uh-huh.
it's called hippocampus, from the Greek hippocampus, seahorse, in both
Exactly.
hemispheres, right? And the hippocampus has a major, that's the thing I
Yes.
want to tell you, major function. It's related to learning and especially memory, okay?
Mhm.
Memory and also spatial navigation. So
Exactly.
if you lose your hippocampus, just to give you an illustration, which happened to a guy named Henry Malaysian, you cannot make new memories, new semantic memories, okay? Because the hippocampus transfers new
Exactly.
information to long-term memory, and it actually helps bring back previous knowledge to your working memory so you can use it,
Hmm.
right? So it's very important for learning, essential for learning, folks. Without
Exactly.
it, you can't learn, you know? Yeah.
And exactly. And what Andre said about your semantic memory, meaning that concepts. And if
Yes.
there's something that we do with our long-term memory, we store these concepts. And concepts are nothing but events. So, or
Yeah.
experiences and all these things. So everything we've experienced in our life, we create some sort of concept and we store. It's as if we had some sort of drawer. We
Yeah.
open and we generate new drawers, and we say, okay, so in this drawer I'm going to put these concepts or these experiences, and then you label them.
Exactly.
These labels are, I can very simplistically call them language, because every
Yeah.
time you want to describe that experience, how are you going to do that? Basically with your language. So you open the drawer, you retrieve that experience, and then you need to express that through language, and you're going to use the label. Okay, what label am I going to use in order to express this or to communicate this? Boom, the label. If And this is all of course one of the functions that the hippocampus has.
Yeah.
If we don't have proper nourishment, if we don't have proper nourishment, and this is not me, Rudy, okay? This is a bunch of researchers. It's the famous et al. But just so you
Yeah.
know, there's Jekka, Cherubin, Anstey, Butterworth, etc., and et al. And everyone. They
Yeah.
said that malnutrition or improper diet, improper diet, uh, they are responsible for the shrinking of your hippocampus.
Yeah.
You know, so your hippocampus decreases, gets smaller. And if it gets smaller, do you really believe that
Yeah.
they are going to be able, your students are going to be able to actually not only generate semantic memory? I'm talking about generation of semantic memory. I'm not just talking about retrieval of stuff. I'm
Yeah.
talking about construction of that concept, of that meaning. No way, that's not going to happen. And
Yeah.
again, it's not me, it's not Rudy, it's not Andre. It's a
That's the
bunch
thing,
of
man. Yeah.
researchers who conducted this experiment, very recent
Yeah.
experiment, by the way, and they came up with this conclusion. And when we say, it's really important to mention this here, to clarify this here, as actually, when we say proper nutrition, we're not just saying, okay, guys, you got to eat salad. No, it's not just
No.
salad.
And
It's
it's
not
not
just
just
this.
it's
Okay.
not like a short-term
Especially because
process.
we're
We're
not
talking,
nutritionists.
yeah, yeah, we're talking about a long process. Like, if a kid skips a meal one day, of course that's not gonna, immediately affect the hippocampus. But the thing that we're seeing is that if frequently, constantly, that kids don't get the type of nutrition that they
Yeah.
need, there will be severe, impacts on everything. The hippocampus is one example, but even the cortex will suffer.
Yes.
Yeah, muscle development, everything will suffer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And what's really interesting that I found out in these articles, that these researches I've been reading for this episode,
yeah,
uh, they have a bunch of experiments. They have the names
yeah.
for the experiments, but something that is constant. Do you know how they call improper nourishment? They call it Western diet. So it's
Well,
us.
makes sense.
It's
Makes
us.
sense. Yeah,
Western diet.
yeah. Because
So
usually the good
yeah,
diet is
it's
Mediterranean or Asian. Or, yes, exactly. Yeah,
it is, but it is.
yeah,
That's it.
exactly.
That's it. They
Yeah,
call it the Mediterranean diet. Is if I'm not wrong, I may be
one
getting
of the
confused
best.
with
Yeah, in the
the
world. Yeah,
acronyms here, but
yeah.
it's one of the best, and it's called, the battery of exam is called MIND, if I'm not wrong,
Okay.
and the M for the acronym stands for the Mediterranean, if I'm not wrong. But yeah,
Okay.
so there is a correlation between
Yeah.
Western diet, and decrease of hippocampus.
Look at
Again,
that,
not
man.
me.
Yeah.
It's a research,
But
and
that's
I
yeah.
just gave you the reference.
Yeah. And that's completely plausible because if you think about my first question, thought provoking question, can, René Descartes, and can we separate cognition from emotion and physiology? We really can't. And we're going to talk about something more controversial in a couple of months that has a little bit to do with that. No spoilers here, but we have to.
Oh boy.
Science, okay, science deals with a materialistic foundation. So for a mind to
Yeah.
exist, for cognition to exist, there has to be a physical substrate based on subatomic particles, atoms, molecules, cells, tissues, and things like that. I mean, it doesn't come from nowhere. It's not just, but there are concepts that we don't know how to explain very well. Like, consciousness, for
Yeah.
example. Does it reside inside the body? Is something we capture like antennas? Well, according to science, naturalistic science, of course, it's kind of like the cloud and the computer and the hardware, so you upload stuff to the cloud, but without the mainframes, the plastic, the metal, there is no cloud, because that's how you create the cloud. It's kind of like that for science anyway. So we need to take into consideration that for anything to happen and for anything to work well in the body in terms of cognition, emotion, and everything, the body needs to be well, because that's the substrate, that's the physical, part of anything, right? And one and the other way around is also true. Let me give you guys one example so we can discuss. We can use our cognitive abilities and practice things and intellectual abilities to actually reinforce our body in different ways. Like Rudy was mentioning the hippocampus, so we can see hippocampal shrinkage in dementia, especially Alzheimer's disease, right? But we can see an increase of volume of hippocampus in taxi drivers, London. There was a huge study, 2007 to 2007, showing that because they use their hippocampus a lot to memorize street addresses and everything like that, their hippocampus was larger than the average population because they were using their cognition a lot. They were practicing. So if you use your cognition a lot, you can actually impact your physiology. And if you use your physiology well enough, if you receive the right nutrients, you will impact your cognition. And the last example is what we now know as the brain-gut connection. So a lot of scientists are talking about the second brain, which is your stomach or your gut, your intestines and everything. But of course, gurus, they say, now there's a second brain and your stomach thinks for itself. No, people, that's BS, okay? It's that people can always take it out of context,
Yeah.
But what we know is that our cognition and emotion affects our digestion and vice versa. Like, have you ever felt butterflies in the stomach, right? Because you were about to do something that challenged you, you were scared. So you feel something in your stomach, right? And the other way around is also true. So
Yeah.
body, mind, brain, that's a connection that cannot be broken, So that's why we have to respect what we put inside our bodies, and for our students as well, right, Rudy? Yeah,
Yes.
definitely,
Yes.
man.
And we've been talking about the privileged, the social economically privileged part of the society, and
Yeah,
now we can focus a little bit more on the 4%, which is the underprivileged part of the society,
yeah.
because as we said, as
And
we
how we
asked
can
you
help,
guys,
right?
and
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
exactly. And Tasia said the same thing. Donnie said the same thing. They can't
yeah,
concentrate. I mean, especially for those who work
yeah,
who study at public schools because of socioeconomic situation, blah, blah, blah. We mentioned this a couple of minutes ago. The link
yeah,
between poor diet and socioeconomic situation anyway.
yeah,
They don't have access to certain types of foods. And uh, some of the one of the elements responsible for the fire off of neurotransmitters is, if I'm not wrong, I'm going to check this later, but if I'm not wrong, is amino acids. Amino acids, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
where do
Amino
you get
acids,
amino acids from? Food,
yeah,
basically.
exactly. Yeah.
Food, food.
Yeah. And carbohydrates
What
are very
does that
important
mean? I mean, what does it
for
mean? It means
the
that
action potential. Yeah, definitely.
carbs,
Yeah.
exactly, carbs,
Yeah.
these are neurotransmitters. This means that whenever we consume these nutrients, these elements, our brain is going to absorb these nutrients, and the brain is going to have energy enough to boost its activity, meaning that make synapses work in general.
Yeah.
All right. And we get this nutrition from food. From food. So if you eat rice, you're going to get some. If you eat fish, you're going to get
Yeah.
some, etc., etc. If you have students who don't have access to the basics for nutrition, they're
Yeah.
not going to have. They're going to be prevented from having this kind of nutrition. Therefore, oh, I feel like I'm writing an essay saying therefore here, but anyway, so
Yeah.
therefore,
That's sophisticated. Yeah.
therefore, the neurotransmitter, that's very sophisticated. See, Chá Pedagógico is not just about geeky stuff. We're
Oh,
also
yeah.
very sophisticated, but then the neurotransmitter is not going to work properly, meaning that the making of synapses is not going to happen properly.
Yeah.
As we said some minutes ago, no creation, I mean, shrinking of hippocampus. We're
Yeah.
not going to be able to generate semantic memory, retrieving stuff, retrieving knowledge, making knowledge, learning,
Yeah.
concentration. So you see the
All of that. Yeah.
results are terrible, terrible. And Donnie said here in the chat box, that's why I always say that's why students always say, I don't remember,
Yeah.
teacher. Well, start
Yeah.
asking if they had
If
eaten.
they had, yeah,
Have you
had a
have you
meal.
had
Yeah.
your meal? Have you had your
Yeah.
breakfast? You
Yeah.
know, and this is really important, especially if you work for public schools here in Brazil. And again, we're using Brazil
Yeah.
as the canvas for the episode
Definitely.
today. But if you guys are watching or listening to us from different countries, you can also use the comment section here down here in the chat box as well,
Yeah.
to tell us what the scenario is like, what the
Definitely.
poor
Yeah.
diet scenario of your students is like in the country that you're from.
Yeah.
But here in Brazil, this is the scenario. So start asking your students, have you had breakfast?
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
did you have a chance to eat today? And if
Yeah.
they say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, miss," or "I'm so sorry, teacher, I haven't eaten today yet," try to find something. It
Yeah.
can be a pongee quiche, It can be a
Yeah.
pongee
I
quiche.
mean, they need
That's
the
fine.
energy. They have
But
to get that energy.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. This is really important, and for adult learners as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys work at Asia, which is a special educational system we have in Brazil for adult learners.
Yeah.
Uh, the same. Not because they don't have economic resources to
Yeah.
get food, to afford food, but sometimes because they've spent, I don't know, 60, 70% of their day working, and
Yeah.
now they have to go to school and attend your class. They haven't eaten. They haven't
Yeah.
eaten,
And you know
So
what, man?
start
Yeah.
asking them, regardless of
Yeah.
their age. This is really important.
Yeah. That's why any intervention to help students learn better has to work on many different fronts, because of course we try to plan our lessons according to science, scientific evidence. Of course we try to get families on board. We talk to management. We do whatever we can, right? But if your students haven't
Yeah,
eaten anything, things are going to fail. So it has to be, you got to work on
exactly.
multiple fronts. And we understand it's not your responsibility necessarily, because, well, teachers are burdened as it is already. There's so much we have to do already, but we have to find
Yeah.
out, at least find out what's going on. Are those kids getting proper nutrition? Are they
Mhm.
eating well? If
Yeah.
not, is there anything that we can maybe help with? We can get someone to talk to the family, or social workers. I don't know,
Yeah.
because if you cannot work on that front, it's not going to work. It doesn't matter. It's like I
Yeah.
said, if there's no fuel in the car is not going to run. you know it maybe downhill
Not
if
at
you
all.
push it.
Not at all.
Just downhill if you push it, and then
Yeah.
it's gone. It's
If
yeah,
if you push it, because if you don't,
yeah.
if there's no push, this not even
There's
this is
nothing.
going to happen. If you
There's
don't
nothing.
push it,
Yeah,
not even this. But
yeah,
again, that's how important nutrition is, and this is,
yeah,
of course, there are several factors that contribute to a very low performance in languages here in Brazil, especially
yeah.
second language. But this is one of them.
Oh yeah,
Nutrition. This is one of them.
yeah,
You mentioned the shrink. We've been talking about the size of our
yeah,
hippocampus and all these things. Take a look at our previous episode here, AI and cognition, because we talked
yeah.
about this as well in the previous episode of Chá Pedagógico here on Gisal's YouTube channel.
Oh
So take a
yes,
look at that episode, because AI is another factor. I
yes,
mean, improper use of AI is one of the factors that can
definitely.
reduce the size of our hippocampus. But then you may ask us, Rudy, Andre, okay, what do we do? How do I design my lessons based on this?
Yeah,
What can I do? Well, Andre just said you can. If you have, of course, the support of your school, the support of the administration, you can talk to the families. You
yeah,
know, uh, always, always, always keep in touch with your students. Ask them,
yeah.
interact with them. Don't take their feelings for granted because of their age
Definitely, yeah,
or because of their social economic conditions. Always talk to your students. Always
yeah.
communicate with them. Get in touch with them formally,
Establish
informally,
a
during
trust
recess, in the
relationship,
classroom.
right? Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. This is really important.
yeah.
And in your lesson plan,
Dude.
well, uh, first of, yeah,
No, no,
go ahead.
yeah. Go, keep going. I know people want to
Oh,
know the big announcement. So yeah, Rudy's gonna wrap up, and we're gonna.
yeah,
I know
wait a
you're
minute.
thinking
Yeah, we
about it.
do have.
We have a major
Yeah.
announcement. Just wanted to remind
Yeah, I
everyone.
know.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have, we have, we
Yeah.
have. Yeah, but because it's important that we talk what we can do in the classroom, so we don't
Yeah.
just talk about theories. No, because we're
Yeah.
there. We're constantly there in the classroom with our students. So when you're designing your lessons, take this into consideration. If you already
Most
know
definitely.
the
Yeah.
profile of your students, if you understand the socioeconomic situation of your students, take this into consideration. Then, instead of assigning some sort of activity that will require your students to focus for long periods and all these things, maybe shorter exercises. you
Yeah.
know if there's nothing you can do, if you have a group and you understand their condition, their situation, and you say, okay, there's nothing I can do, then when you design your lessons, remember that they are going to have a hard time making use of their sustained attention, for example, because it requires a lot of energy, for instance.
Oh
So
yeah.
break down your activities, make shorter activities and something more dynamic. If they haven't had enough or proper nourishment for, let's say, days or whatever, uh, rethink the interactive activities, because one of the factors that contribute to wakeness is proper food, the proper
Oh
nutrition
yeah.
that people consume. So this is really important, meaning that they're going to feel lazy if they haven't. I think it happens to anyone when you're
Yeah,
hungry and you
definitely.
haven't eaten for a long time. You feel lazy, you feel like sleepy, and all
Yeah,
these things. So your students are
yeah,
going to feel sleepy. So maybe
definitely.
interactive activities are not going to be very interesting at that time. Maybe you can change, and maybe you can, let's say, if you have classes after recess or after lunch, then an interactive activity would be a better idea because they will have just eaten at the time. So think about, take these things into consideration
Yeah.
when you're designing your lessons. And again, guys, I'm not going to stress this enough. Talk to your students
Get
regardless
to
of
know
their
them.
age,
Yes,
regardless of their
definitely.
condition. Always talk to them. Always talk to them. All
Yeah,
of them, even those who are more introverts. When you have a chance, talk to them, get to
yeah,
know them, see what the condition of your students is, and this is going to uh, boost uh, your practice as a teacher,
oh,
because
definitely.
again,
Yeah,
we're talking about something that's we're talking about something that's affecting 4% of our population, people who don't have access, people who can't
yeah,
afford proper nutrition, and also people who have been taking ultra
yeah,
processed foods,
yeah,
which is the other end of the spectrum. Talk to them as well. We're not just
yeah.
talking about public schools, we're talking about private schools or privileged schools. Talk to them, talk to these students as well. Say, what
Exactly.
did you eat for breakfast today? Ah,
Yeah.
teacher, I ate, let's say, a super extreme situation here. Let's say one of your students says, teacher, I just had burger for breakfast today.
Yeah,
My my parents didn't have a chance to make,
yeah,
but I don't know, fruits or whatever, and
yeah. Scrambled
I'm taking
eggs
burgers.
and yeah, yeah,
Even
yeah,
cereals, but
yeah,
scrambled eggs. I mean, depending on how you
yeah.
make it, I think it would be
No,
okay
you
because
can.
eggs are very,
Scrambled eggs can be very, very healthy.
of,
Actually, can get
but
the protein. Yeah,
exactly.
it depends
Well, let's
on
say
how you do it. Yeah,
cornflakes. Depending
yeah,
cornflakes. Everybody
yeah.
thinks that cornflakes are very healthy. Man,
But they're
there's a lot of
extremely
sugar in it.
sugary. Yeah, extremely sugary. Yeah,
Super sugary and a lot
yeah,
of sodium because I don't know, but if you guys have you ever noticed how long it takes for
yeah.
cornflakes, to spoil? It takes
like like
a
millennia.
long time.
you know. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
You know, so if you work at a privileged school, ask your students as well.
yeah,
Ask them, okay, what did you have for breakfast today? Ah, teacher, I had
yeah,
cornflakes. Oh, okay, what about fruits? Do you normally eat fruits for breakfast?
yeah,
Oh, no, teacher. Or if they say, teacher, my parents don't have time to make breakfast for me because we
yeah.
wake up and they got to go to work and they bring me here very fast, and this is going to affect as well. This is really important,
Exactly. And
right?
you
And
know
we have
what,
something
man?
very, very cool to tell
Yeah,
you.
we do. I just wanted to mention that that's why nowadays we have the idea of health integrated with mind brain education. So a couple of years ago we talked about psycho teaching, educational psychology, neuropsychology, educational neuroscience, whatever. But it has to be integrated. It has to be transdisciplinary. So you have to study the mind,
Mhm.
have to study the brain, you have to study education, and you have to study health. When I talked to Tracy Tokuhama, she said it
Yeah.
should be mind, brain education, and health, because all of those fronts they need to be working
Yeah.
well for us to actually intervene whenever needed, using the best tools we have available, right?
Yeah.
But dude, will you do the honors? We
Yes.
have something very cool to announce, folks. Yes.
We have
So go ahead,
three
man.
cool things to tell you guys.
Yeah.
Three cool
Yeah.
things. So actually, a little suspense here,
Yeah.
So guys, before we tell you the big announcements we have for today. If you haven't
Yeah.
subscribed to the channel, subscribe
Oh,
to the
yes.
channel because then every time we have a live episode of Chá Pedagógico, you're going to be notified. This is
Yeah.
really important.
And
If you
also
like this
remember that
episode, I
it's
can
on
see
a
that we
Sunday,
already have
last
some
Sunday of the
numbers, some
month.
like numbers.
Okay. Yeah.
It's always the last Sunday of the month. When it's
Exactly.
a different schedule, we'll tell you in advance because depending on the month,
Definitely.
we have some special dates and etc. But we always
Yeah.
tell you, like pretty much like next month
Next
or
month. Ah, yeah.
September. But anyway, but anyway,
Yeah.
don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. It's really important, guys. If you like
Oh,
this
yes.
episode, and if you liked previous episodes, click on the like button. It's really important. This is going to make Chá Pedagógico achieve levels that we have achieved only once this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
every time you'll interact with the episode by clicking on the like button, it's as if you're telling YouTube that this is really
Definitely.
important. And then YouTube is going to use their algorithms to make this episode reach more and more people.
Yeah.
Also, very important, I forgot to tell you guys throughout this episode, share this link. If you're part of a
Yeah.
WhatsApp group with a lot of educators, and if you think this is a very interesting topic to discuss with the group of teachers you belong to,
School
there is
management,
a share
yeah.
button here. You can share. Yes, share the link. Just post it on your WhatsApp group. Say, guys, there's this very cool episode with two crazy dudes talking about linguistics
Yeah.
and neuroscience. That's really cool. And they talked about nutrition, cognition, and language acquisition. That's really cool. It's really valid.
Yeah.
So share that because then more people are gonna watch us as well. Another
Exactly.
thing, Andre talked about a very important book by Susana Herculano, and this book is
Yes.
available on Gisal's website. Gisal's website, yes, Gisal's website, our sponsor,
Yeah.
one of our sponsors,
Yeah. Now we can officially say
one
that,
of our
huh?
sponsors
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you really want to purchase the book, go to Gisal's website. It's gisals.com.br, gisal.com.br,
Yep.
disal.com.br. And
Yes.
when you're checking out, make sure you use the promo code hashtag SHA25,
25. Two
25, hashtag
five. Okay.
CHA25, 25. All right. And then
Exactly.
you're going to get 25% off of your purchases. All right.
Awesome.
And the
And
first
now,
big announcement we have for today.
yeah. So
Gisal's been with us for a long time, and for the last
almost two
year and a
years now.
half, they've been
Yeah.
almost 2 years now. They've been
Yeah.
with us officially, but we've been working with Disal unofficially, producing content for decades almost, but officially as a partner of Chá Pedagógico for almost 2 years,
Yeah.
1.5 years to be more accurate.
Yeah.
And we would like to welcome another partner for Chá
Oh,
Pedagógico,
yes.
which
Oh,
is
yeah.
which one should I say?
Okay.
The
I'll
one
say
with the C or
one,
the one with
and then
the M?
I'll say the one with the M,
Okay.
and you say the one with the C. Okay. So, okay, folks, we're very, very proud, very
Okay,
happy
go
to
ahead. So you
announce
go
that
ahead.
now. Okay. One of our sponsors is a major publisher with amazing materials, amazing events. I know you know who they are, and it's Macmillan. Macmillan, folks. So we are very happy because we are starting this partnership. We actually talked to them during Batch this year, the conference in Sao Paulo. So we have something very cool to say that next year we will be there again. There will be a podcast space in their booth there, and we're going to do a live episode of Chá Pedagógico there for Macmillan. So thank you so much, Macmillan, for having us, for sharing your place, your home with us as well. We're very proud, right? And now there's another sponsor, right, Rudy?
Exactly.
It's something
So
happening next
welcome.
month. Yeah.
There's one more. It's both of them, So Macmillan is one of the big announcements that we have. The second big
Yeah.
announcement we have is now we have Ciranda Cultural
Oh, yeah.
joining forces with Chá Pedagógico, Disal, and Macmillan. So it's becoming an education army. It sounds
Yeah.
really weird, but yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it sounded super weird, but yeah. So we'd like to welcome Ciranda Cultural.
Oh,
Ciranda
yes.
Cultural. Well, what I'm about to tell you guys is super biased because I love Ciranda Cultural.
Yeah, they have
my daughter. You
amazing
saw
books,
her arm earlier today. So she has a lot of books from Ciranda Cultural. They have amazing selection, and they have an amazing selection of books that from time to time you're going to see how we can use these books to prepare your lessons as well, So yeah, so Ciranda Cultural, thank you so much for that. Welcome to
Oh
this
yes.
crazy universe that Chá
Thank
Pedagógico
you.
is. And the third big announcement, the
Oh
third big
yes.
announcement, da, 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 da.
That's the major one,
Next
folks.
episode of Chá Pedagógico is going to be in September, right? In
Yes.
September, uh,
Different
September
date. Different date.
26th or 27th.
26th. Yeah. 26th.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's a
26th,
Friday. Yeah.
26th, right? September
Yeah.
26th. It's a
Yeah.
Friday,
Yeah.
and this episode is going to be live, like this one, but
Yeah.
we're gonna be in São Paulo.
Live and face
Yes,
to
we're gonna be in
face.
São Paulo,
Yeah.
face to face, exactly.
Yeah.
And where is this going to take place? This is going to take place in São Paulo at
Yes.
Companhia de Teatro Bilingue. Companhia de Teatro Bilingue. And we're going to
Yeah.
make this episode and make it official the partnership between Disal, Chá Pedagógico, Macmillan, and
Yes.
Ciranda Cultural. So,
That's
guys,
so cool.
make sure you keep an eye on both of our socials because
Yep.
throughout the month of September, our socials, we're going to share more and more information on this episode. It's going to be live, and you're going to be, if you're in Sao Paulo or near Sao Paulo, you guys
Maybe
can
you
be
can
there.
join us. Yeah.
You guys can be
Maybe you
there.
can. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's going to be
Or
so cool.
a
Yeah.
cup of tea. We're going to be drinking
Cup of tea.
You know,
You can take a
and
picture with us.
yeah, some
Hannibal. Yeah.
exactly with Hannibal. Hannibal's going to be there because Hannibal is always with us.
Oh, yeah,
It's
definitely,
like
yeah.
our shadow. And there's more. And
Yeah.
by the way, we're also going to tell you what the topic is going to be about next month. The topic is going to be dogma.
Yeah. Dogma. Yeah,
Dogma.
exactly. Yes.
Yes. So September 26th, we're going to have a live episode of Chá Pedagógico in
Yep.
São Paulo at Companhia de Teatro Bilingue.
Bilingue.
All right.
Yes.
Macmillan is going to be there. Ciranda Cultural is going to be there. We are also going to be there. Disal is also going to be there.
Yeah.
And we're going to be recording a live episode of Chá Pedagógico, live because
Live and face
you'll
to
have an
face.
opportunity to be there with
Yeah.
us, joining us
Yeah.
face to face. Exactly.
So
And
cool.
we're going to talk about dogma.
Dogma.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't know the time yet. So
But-
we don't know.
but stay
we only
tuned,
know that's
folks.
going to be
Yeah.
in September.
Yeah.
So, exactly. So
Stay
keep an
tuned,
eye on
yeah.
our socials. And
Yeah.
by the way, so if you haven't followed us yet, follow Andre on his handle, the Learning Cosmos.
Exactly.
That's his handle on Instagram. The
And
Learning
follow
Cosmos.
Rudy.
All right.
Yes. Marcello
And if you haven't-
Consultoria. Yeah.
Yeah.
Double T, double L. Make sure you follow him
Yes.
on Instagram. Follow us on
Exactly.
LinkedIn as well. You know, we also have YouTube channels that we talk about some crazy things as well. So make sure you just Google
Yes.
us. Find us all over social media. Follow us.
Yes.
Stay tuned because there's more coming, folks. There's more. Dude.
Yes, and we're always, and even though we've been working together for such a long time. We also have, solo projects as well here and there, and then we join forces, and sometimes we have solo projects and then join forces again. So we're constantly doing stuff in every channel that we have. Don't forget to follow Gisal's socials.
Yes.
Gisal's handle on Instagram is Gisal Distribuidora. Oh
Yes,
my God,
yeah.
I always
I think
forget what it means.
Gisal underscore
Gisal underline.
distribuidora. Yeah.
Distribuidora, exactly.
Yeah.
And now don't forget to follow as well Ciranda Cultural. This is a new one. So it's Editora Ciranda Cultural. Editora
Exactly.
Ciranda Cultural. That's their handle on Instagram. And Macmillan, seriously, you don't know? You don't know what
You can
Macmillan's
find
handle is?
Macmillan all over the place, you know? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is, and then you can follow Macmillan. Their handle on Instagram is Macmillan, if I'm not wrong. It's
Macmillan Brazil, maybe, or there's also
Macmillan
Macmillan
Brazil,
Education. I'm sure you're gonna find it. Yeah,
Exactly.
Dude.
And
yes,
we did it. And
did
see
it,
you guys in Sao Paulo in 30 days or so. At least it's
Yes.
a bit less than 30 days. We're going to be
Yeah.
in Sao Paulo for a live episode of Chá Pedagógico and some more surprises. We're preparing some surprises for you guys.
Oh,
We
yeah,
always thinking some
definitely.
crazy stuff. Let's talk
Yeah.
about Dogme. If you don't know what Dogme is, you can talk to us on our socials, and we can discuss more about
Yes.
Dogme, what this is all about, the positive result, the positive aspects, negative
Definitely,
aspects,
yeah.
etc. We're there to talk about this. Okay, guys,
Yeah.
dude, we made it.
That's it, man. We made it. So
Yes.
thank you so
Cool.
much, folks, for following us again. Yeah. Yeah.
Disal, Lírica, thank you so much. Tamiris is the oracle. She is the one in our minds today. Thank you so much for the little sis. Thank you so much, Maria, or Scarlet
Maria, our
sis.
Scarlet
And,
sister. Yeah.
Exactly. And everyone from Disal. So if you guys really liked
Yeah.
this episode and the previous episodes, it's because of them. They are
A
always
big shout out to
us,
the team, folks, behind the cameras, Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
They, without
And
them,
dude,
they're like our nourishment. Without the nutrients, we can't work. We got to have the nourishment. Otherwise,
absolutely correct.
there's no substrate. It's us,
Exactly.
just us. We're the cloud.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Dude.
And guys, thank you for joining us on this Saturday. I know, and this Saturday, on the Sunday evening. I know you tomorrow, guys. You got some stuff to do. And and the results for the poll. Very quickly.
Bye, everyone.
80% of the people, 80% of the people think nourishment is really important, and they always ask about it. 20% said they never asked about it. 1%, no one has said I'm not sure about it, and no one said not important as well.
As we had anticipated. That's it. So thank you, folks. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and then